Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotza Ben and Friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two dear friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives, as we play through this series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have all played through the final case of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, Turnabout Succession, the end of the game, and the final, the final, run of Takumi written games, right? Because Takumi has written games 1 through 3. Mm-hmm. He is the writer and story director on Game 4. Mm-hmm. Games, the spin-offs, like Miles Edgeworth Investigations, are not written by him. And the Games 5 and 6, then, are also not written by him. So this is kind of like the end of an era for him. He is handing off the series to fresh blood at Capcom to kind of take over things.
Fresh blood? They need to sacrifice people?
Yeah, on the altar of crunch.
Does that mean that the Great Ace Attorney is Shu Takumi?
Yes, Great Ace Attorney is Shu Takumi. Shu Takumi also was part of the story team for Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright as well.
I fucking forgot we were playing that.
So He was also on those.
Wait, are we playing those?
Well, we can see when we get there. It's up to you. But I think those are really compelling. I think those are really interesting. And
I just play what you guys tell me.
Yeah, my plan, unless we had strong objections, my plan was to get to those. But that's for the future. Today we're gonna talk about Turnabout Succession. Excuse me. And yep.
I didn't want to do it.
I know. And so I was going to go over, this is a pretty lengthy case because it is a final case. It's not quite as long as case 5 of game 1, but
is anything?
But it's still, yeah, but it starts to get up there. So, and there's a lot going on. So instead of our usual process of going through the whole thing in depth, I'm instead going to do a short summary of the entire case right up front here. And then we will dive into it. So,
just like how the case is testing out the new jury system, we're testing on a new system.
Yeah.
We're going to do it better than that, hopefully.
Hopefully. In this final case, a forger, Drew Misham, is poisoned seemingly by his own meek daughter, Vera. Phoenix Wright ropes Apollo and Trucy into this case because this is a test of the new jurist system, he calls it, which would place a jury in control of the final decision of the court instead of the judge, as in previous cases. It quickly comes to light that not only is Vera actually the forger, not her father, but that this case is deeply entwined with the case from 7 years ago in which Phoenix Wright lost his badge. We touched on this a little bit in previous cases, but we haven't gotten the details until now. The Troop Grammary, magical performance group, of which Trucy is related to, her parents were part of this, their sordid blackmail, Christoph Gavin's dark schemes, and Phoenix Wright's counter schemes all come together in a digital database of evidence that you as the player kind of comb through to piece together the final truth as you prove Vera's innocence. Not only that, we also learn about Apollo and Trucy's family history, nail polish, and the perils of IP law for magic tricks, as Phoenix gambles with evidence, and the black-hearted Christoph to move the legal system into the future. Also, I guess Apollo is here too? So anyway, let's dive into the details.
All right.
First, overall feelings for this case. I would like to start with Dessy. How did you feel about this case overall, coming to it kind of with relatively fresh eyes?
There's not enough Apollo.
Okay.
They took him from me.
I thought that might be how you felt about it.
It's nice to get the the Phoenix side of things after talking about it multiple times throughout the game, but it's called Apollo Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this about Phoenix?
Yeah, it for full context, like the first investigation in courtroom phase, you are playing as Apollo. But then once that is kind of wrapped up, then you are like tossed fully into the past of Phoenix's case from 7 years ago. Rose, how did you feel overall about this case and kind of just the overall vibes of it?
So grand umbrella is that I thought the actual case was fun and interesting. I was having a pretty good time with the first investigation, the first little courtroom segment. I was like, yeah, I'm getting it, I'm doing it. Trucy and I solving the problems. We do the flashback. I'm like, yeah, all right, this is just like when we were Mia in game 3. This is fine. I'll see the thing that happens. And then we hit the rest of the case.
Not a fan of cyberspace?
I'm actually, here's the thing, is that I am a fan of cyberspace. I loved how it looked, and I was furious about it being there. Because this is like nothing we've ever dealt with before. Goddamn Hobo Phoenix is on there, and he's like, oh, you're gonna solve the problem. You're the only one. It's like a video game. And I'm like, go to hell. Die. I hate you. I'm sick of this. Oh my god.
Wow.
I got so mad. To be fair, I was a little sleep deprived. But,
yeah, you spent the weekend at the cave, so you had a wonderful time.
yeah, but I had to drive us all the way there and back because I have 6 friends and 2 of us can drive, and
oh no.
And that's my story. So I drove us all the way there and all the way back and all the way around. I was tired, and Phoenix Wright was like, it's like a game, and I was like, shut up, don't tell me that. As soon as
you might have had some extenuating circumstances as well.
I think I still feel valid about it a couple days later. I didn't like it. I liked that it told you that you finished the information, except it also didn't in one case, which we can maybe get into later.
Sure.
There's a segment where so I thought, I'm doing the whole overarching thing. I didn't like that segment at all. Very happy to get back to the present. Got back to the present, again, felt like someone had taken my hands off the wheel a little bit. And I was just sort of along for the ride. Which was sad, because I agree with Des, I wanted more Apollo. I was a little disappointed he got taken away from me.
Right.
That being said, though, the actual plot of the case I thought was really fun. I thought it was interesting. I kind of solved it a little earlier than the game did, but
yeah,
that's also okay.
I think when we were on stream, we also ran into this a bit. That we were all like, we kind of got it, game, and it kept wanting to feed it to us, step by step again. And I was like, no, I get it. You did this already.
I called both of the major twists before they actually happened. You can ask my roommate. Listeners, please ask my roommate. How will you do that? I don't know.
We shouldn't actually send our listeners after your roommate.
How will they know? How will they know? Yeah.
Let's jump over to Tiago.
They're gonna know.
Tiago, how did you feel about this case in the overall sense?
Broad strokes, I enjoyed the case. There's one point where I legitimately wanted to vomit. My actual huge frustration in this case is that I find that it revolves around the Psycho Eye attack. So like, I'll get there when we get there.
I looked that up. I cheated.
I'll explain it when we get there.
Okay,
by the way,
us
listeners,
your story.
We have T-shirts now. Go by the psycho eye attack teacher.
No.
What do you mean no? This is
At
my
the
shirt.
end of the podcast.
Oh, fine, whatever. This case, I really enjoyed the story. I like all the characters. My issue with this case is that it founded all of the fears that I had in the first case, which was this game is ultimately going to revolve around Phoenix Wright, and Apollo Justice will become a satellite, and that is what happened at the end. My fears were justified.
Sure fucking was.
And I am a genius. That is my broad stroke. I still really like the story. I love Apollo and all the characters introduced in this game. That's how I feel. Yep, that's it.
No. So let's drill down a little bit here then, and just take it chunk by chunk then. So for investigation 1, day 1, you have kind of this, I thought anyway, cute moment with Trucy and Apollo starting off in the office. And you get the little bit of your foreshadowing at the start with Phoenix handing an envelope to Trucy that he says only open when the time is right, being vague and ominous again.
It's
okay,
full phase. I'm just gonna kill you one day.
And we also get in a little bit of info about Valiant, who's popped up before here in the previous case, and that he's going to be getting the magic tricks of their mentor Magnifi Gramarye after 7 years. Because Zach's been gone, for this period. Zach, who is Trucy's father, who was originally going to get the rights, he's been disappeared for 7 years, and after 7 years, the rights are going to be relinquished back to Valiant, so he would be able to do his performances, and he's already prepping his show at the big Coliseum and that sort of thing. He's waiting for the second that 7 years is up so that he can do this performance.
Isn't it Zach is legally dead after a certain date?
Yeah, after 7 years, Zach is legally dead.
7 years is all it takes to be legally dead, huh?
I know.
I guess. The statute of limitations on murder when you're an 8-year-old boy is apparently 15 years, so...
I know, right? But it just changes from case to case, I guess, for whatever's convenient for the story. But yes, so Valiant gets very concerned when he sees this envelope that Trucy has. You go investigating to Misham's office, his studio where he's been doing his forgeries. You do some poking around with Emma as well, and the main things that come up here that are super critical are that Drew is forging these paintings. Underneath his 3 paintings are paintings of all 3 cases that we've played so far, which is really interesting. He's been paying very close attention to cases that Apollo has been involved in, which later we realize that it's actually not really Apollo that he cares about. It's actually kind of more just Phoenix.
Boo!
But there's something that I really enjoy about this part, actually, where at the beginning of the game, we are introduced to a painter vignette, and that is what becomes the backdrop to how the first case is introduced. So this is a callback to the first case, which I really liked.
Yeah, there are some bits it's a good moment when it happens because you're like, what the fuck is going on? Why does he have paintings of all these cases?
And then you find out it's just about Phoenix.
Exactly. You also the other critical thing here then is the little tiny frame, a little tiny picture frame, which then you spray and find poison residue on it. And since Drew has been poisoned, it's not necessarily completely unusual to find poison in the place, but the fact that it's on this little tiny picture frame is very, very strange. And you just kind of put that in your back pocket for once you go into court. So I won't lie, this courtroom segment does not have a ton of
before we go to courtroom segment, this is the last time we see Emma Skye.
Yes, it is.
She introduced
and you know
us
what? She let me have some gadgets and use them, so she's good to go. Her presence is justified.
She actually does pop up once later when she, right? Doesn't she? When she helps you out in the courtroom just for 1 second.
Does she?
Oh yeah. She comes out of nowhere.
Oh yes. When you are testing for poison there.
Yes.
On the letter envelope, she pops up there. But yes, that is like
Emma
that's
Sky,
like the one last little bit where she just shows up for like 30 seconds.
I feel like this game somehow assassinated your character. I wish you did more. Love you.
Yeah.
Good night. Bye.
I felt a little disappointed. I liked her so much more in the like the 1-5 or whatever it is.
Just because she was a character back then.
Yeah, like I don't know. She seems like I wouldn't mind that she's like, oh, I didn't get the job I wanted, so I'm sad. Like
I
that would
low-key
be
wish
fine, but she's just so flat.
I low-key wish she was more antagonistic.
Yeah, I want her to be more of a bitch or less of a bitch. One of the
I
two.
either want her to be your best friend or someone who'll shoot you
Your
with a
worst
ray gun.
fucking enemy.
Hopefully with a ray gun. I'm leaning more towards that.
So yes, this court segment is the exact moment where I wanted to vomit.
Because we get introduced to this reporter.
The key
Brushel.
witness.
All right,
Yep.
so Tiago,
He's a lot.
you don't like this guy.
Here's my thing about this guy. It's not even like his fault. It's more about the game design.
Because
So far, I actually think he's actually a perfectly fine character. My issue with him is the fact that when you use your Psycho Eye attack on him, in every other previous instance of using the Psycho Eye attack, I tend to focus on key components of a character's design. Because, like, with Machi, his sunglasses, okay, it's near his glasses. Lamorar, she had a mouth cover, oh, it's near the mouth cover. Stickler, oh, he plays with his book, it's around the book. Brushel sweats? And at no point in this fucking game did it tell me that he was a sweaty guy. His whole thing is about his fucking teeth. His name is Brushel.
yeah,
So-
he's kind of a mouthwash guy.
So, like, why wasn't any of his quirks around the fact about his mouth or the toothbrush he uses to scratch his head? No, it's about the fact that he has a sweaty armpit. And it's not even the arm of the one that lifts up the toothbrush to scratch his head. It's the other armpit. I feel actively misled by the Psycho Eye attack. It betrayed me.
So imagine that you like couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on, and this is how I felt the entire time, Tiago.
I asked Ben, straight up, I was like, Ben, I know the phrase, I just can't find it. Like, and Ben was like, it's the other armpit. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I checked the wrong armpit.
I looked it up. I actually tried with this one because I was like, well, Tiago seems like really smart and he's figuring it out. Maybe I can figure it out. No, I looked it
it's
up.
just that, like,
And I kept looking it up.
there was no game design philosophy behind this one. I felt like there was a philosophy behind every other Psycho Eye attack. But this is the one that was just like, yeah, just draw some sweat. Also,
I find it interesting because do you know what he reminded me of, Tiago? Meekins.
What? Oh,
It's just uglier Meekins. And I was like, wow, Tiago's gonna love this, horrendous gentleman.
I like everything about his character. I like his speaking quirk. I like that he's a freak. He's just straight up, like, not human.
It's gross. It makes me feel unhygienic.
Witnesses need to be, like, inhuman. Like, I need to
No!
realize...
You like a little nasty freak on the witness stand, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I do. It's fun. It's
I
a fun
want
time.
April May back.
I want to...
The perfect witness.
I want to, like, fucking interrogate the cast of Toontown every time a murder occurs, okay?
Yeah, but I want him to not put a toothbrush on his head and then put it in his mouth.
That's the
It's
thing,
not
though.
that difficult of a request.
The Psycho Eye attack legit actually made me nauseous this time around. Like, I focused so hard on that screen that the eyeball shaking made me, ill. And I think the issue is that, like, I don't mind the, like, flash lines that are on the side of the Psycho Eye attack. It's the fact that the iris also shakes around a lot. And that's what made it nauseous for me. So, like, at a game design point, I consider the Psycho Eye attack to be, like, a C. Like, it's not great.
C,
but
as in
I
like
give
you
it
can
a-
C.
I give it a D.
If the iris did not shake, it would have been completely fine.
Mhm.
I could deal with it. It's just the fact that, like, in every other time we've used the Psycho Eye attack, there is some philosophy behind of it, and this time it was like, hey, look at his armpit. Look at the part of his body that we've never talked about. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's a perfectly fine witness. I had no trouble figuring out this case. this case, dead ass, I was like, this case is for babies. I'm a genius. Everyone is right but me. No, I'm right.
I did only have to
backwards.
look up where to look for him. I did not have to consult a guide for this part, which made me feel very smart and genius.
I asked Ben to just straight up tell me because I straight up thought to myself, I'd rather just hop on the stream and have Ben play this part for me than me continue this game. But I buckled down and I got through with it.
So you kind of break down Brushall's testimony a little bit here, and mainly this is in regards to dealing with these letters, because Drew Misham had to lick a poison stamp, to send this envelope. That's what you're establishing here. And once you establish that he licked a tiny stamp that was poisoned, that's what killed him, not a poisoned coffee by his daughter or anything like that. Then you move on to, well, why would he lick the stamp if he was, aware of it? Because you're like building up that, it was in the poison stamp was in this envelope. It was intended for him. If he was aware of it, why would he have put it in this frame? And then you realize, Vera is actually the forger, and she put this stamp in this frame because it was a design that she really liked. That's the real reason.
Because she was 12 years old at the time.
Yeah, because she was a child who's really good at forging paintings, because we live in the world of Ace Attorney.
So anyways, there's not enough evidence to convict my client of doing this, so we're done with the case now. Thank you, everybody.
Exactly.
Have a good one.
Yep. Wash our hands of this and let's go.
Unfortunately, this is a system where your client is guilty until proven innocent. Vera still did the murder.
Yep.
So here's a moment that I'd like to think about, is that Vera goes on to talk about how, I forged stuff before. I forged a diary page once. And then Clavier drops, sweat bombs off his forehead and goes...
Yeah, he's freaking out.
I do love his freak out animations.
Dude,
I love Clavier, I think.
Clavier is great. When he, breaks down and, drops the whole charade of being this, cool rocker and is actually just really nervous.
I love it when he freaks out. I also love it when he's being super nice to us.
Both are great.
He feels so authentic when he's just like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna help you out, Apollo. Here you go. Have a look at this. You're my friend.
So, yeah, Clavier freaks out and insists that Vera tell him what the first person forged evidence was. It was a diary page. And then he goes, no, oh my god, it's from the case where I destroyed Phoenix Wright. And then Vera goes on, straight up goes unconscious on the fucking stand, because apparently she's been poisoned with the same poison that killed her dad. I do
think, as a way to go, on the witness stand, someone's like, who asked you to do this? And you freeze for a moment. You look at the guy who is asking, they do the whole bit where she keeps looking at Clavier, suspiciously, so it's, obvious. It's so obvious. But, her falling down as she says the devil is so good.
Everybody's begging her.
The devil dies.
She's drilling holes in Clavier, staring at him, sweating, chewing her, biting her nails, so nervous. And everybody's like, please, Vera, tell us who the client was. You saw the client, right? And she's like, yeah, I did. And they're like, please tell us. And she's like, the devil, and then faints on the stand and collapses from poisoning. And people are like, how the hell did she get poisoned while she was on the stand? What the fuck does she mean, the devil?
That's how I want to go. That's how I want to go.
End the court segment. That's it. It's over. Fade to black's game save, and it's like, holy
great.
Shit.
I was so happy. Maybe that's part of why I got so mad, is I was so happy. Going out of this, I was like, this rules. I'm so psyched for what I'm gonna do next. Me, Apollo Justice, the character I'm playing.
So here's my issue with this part. Clavier, you've been in the prosecuting business for 7 years. How the fuck did you forget? What do you mean he knew it was Drew Misham. He knew who the victim was.
I think he's stupid.
Oh, okay.
I think that might be our solution.
No more questions, Your Honor.
I mean, hey, Phoenix is stupid, although apparently not. Apparently he's a super genius chess master now.
Yeah,
Poker.
he's been playing 4-dimensional chess
I
here
don't
with
like.
everybody.
I want stupid Phoenix back.
So here's the thing: is at this moment where, I fucking hate Brushel. It's at this moment where, like, when you come back from the save, you're standing in the cyberspace, and Phoenix Wright is staring you down, and being like, "You must now investigate the." Oh no, that's incorrect. This is the part where we go straight into Phoenix's case about what happened 7 years ago. And
we go right into it first, yeah.
We go right into it first. His client is Zach Gramaray. His real name is Shady Enigmar.
Yep. Shady Enigmar.
Wow. Hey, where have we heard that before?
Shady Smith.
Why does he look exactly like Shady Smith from Case 1?
Oh my god. It took me a few seconds until he said his name, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, Zach Gramaray is actually the victim in the first case. So he's fucking dead. And he was killed by Clavier. You see little
Christoph.
baby Christoph. They're all the same.
How very dare you, sir.
I apologize. Christoph Gavin killed him 7 years from now. But the point is that you were recently fucking, like, appointed to be Zach's attorney because you beat him in a poker game.
Yeah, the day before.
The day before. Like, dead ass, it's like, hey, listen.
Now this is typical Phoenix Wright. You know, like getting assigned to a client the day before the case and being freaking out, being like, I don't know what's going on, but I guess I'll do my best. Like that part is
classic Phoenix.
Yeah, classic.
We see baby Trucy, who is adorable.
Baby Trucy,
incredible.
Love
great sprites.
When she pulls out Mr. Hat and she has to look away because she isn't that good at ventriloquism yet, adorable.
And also like the animation of her popping him out. She has to jump up so her hat flies up high enough for him to grab it out of midair.
That's so good.
Whereas in her regular sprite, she's just standing, at her current height, and he just grabs it off her head. But here she has to do a little hop up, and it's a gorgeous animation. It's really, really good.
In this house, we appreciate all the sidekicks.
Trucy
Every
fucking
is good.
rules. She's so
Trucy,
good.
Again, Trucy was the reason I started playing Ace Attorney.
You were right. You're
so
right. You
I
should
was
say
right.
it.
So this is the case of who killed Magnifi Gramaray. Was it Zach, his disciple, or his other disciple, Valent?
And just before you get into the courtroom case, Trucy runs up to you and says, "Here, take this diary page, Mr. Old Man Phoenix Wright. You're supposed to have this. Some weird shady person gave it to me. Not Shady Enigmar, my dad. A shady person in the hallway just gave this to me and told me to give it to you." And Phoenix goes, "Oh, huh. Must be important for later. Guess I'll just stick that in my pocket."
Very Phoenix Wright to just take the first piece of evidence handed to him.
Yeah, that's the Phoenix I know.
Yeah.
Straight up, I now understand why he got accused of forging evidence. Oh.
Definitely not a suspicious
it hasn't happened
piece of
already.
Yeah.
So our first person that we're fighting is 17-year-old Clavier Gavin.
Sunglasses indoors, fucking
Short hair.
Sprite.
I love him.
It's a good sprite, I feel
It's
like.
a good sprite. It works.
He's the ideal man.
So our first witness is one Dick Gumshoe, I'm reading? Dick Gumshoe?
Yeah.
The man's back.
The one and only Gumshoe who testifies here, which is really fun.
The
Only
human
for
dumpster himself, Gumshoe.
No.
I love it. Listen, I love being in the dumpster with them.
Only for a few minutes, honestly. I wish he'd been around more. I was a little
Hobocop,
sad.
Best cop. Yeah, you get to talk to Gumshoe, who's there for like one witness part. Gumshoe's like, "Listen, alright, there's two guns, both of them. Well, no, there's one gun, it had one bullet in it. They shot the old man in the deathbed who was gonna die anyway." And
right. And here, I don't know even if we necessarily, need to get into the nitty-gritty on this, because in the end, it doesn't really matter to the overall case, right?
No.
Aside from that, Phoenix presents a fake diary page that would seemingly exonerate Zach. And Clavier is already prepped for this. He's like, I knew it. I knew you were going to do this, Phoenix. Well, Phoenix is like, what?
I think something that is important to establish is that Valiant actively tried to get Zach on the hook for this.
Yes, we learned that later, but yes, Valiant actively did try to frame Zach for this, even though he didn't murder his mentor. We later learn as well, but he did try to trick everybody into thinking that it was him.
Shout out to Valiant's sprite. They just edited his mustache off to make him younger.
They took off his eye lines too. You know, his crow's eyes.
Also, here's another shot that I called. Actually, I'm several minutes into this section of the case, and I go, "Oh, well, that old guy killed himself." Neither of them did it. He killed himself.
I thought it would have been a sick twist if Valiant did it, though.
Yeah, no, but I was right in the end. It is revealed. Right. Well, that's the third twist I call. It was a pretty easy one, to be fair.
Important thing. Wait, do we also find out that is this where we find out about the gun and bullet shenanigans that Clavier? No, we go into that
afterwards.
Yeah, okay, sweet. Forget that.
Yeah, no worries. So yes, Clavier is prepped for Phoenix presenting this fake evidence because Phoenix is just like, well, it's probably real. I know I was given it by a random, child in the street, so I guess I'll use it.
Would an 8-year-old lie to me?
Yeah. And so Clavier pulls out a witness, and he's like, oh, I already have a witness ready to go. This is Drew Misham. He's a forger, and he put his secret hidden mark on it, and he can verify and testify to the court that this is a forged page. This is a very serious thing that you've done, Phoenix. And the judge immediately is like, oh, Phoenix, you done fucked up now. I'm going to disbar you as soon as I can. Everybody is immediately like all the way against Phoenix. Phoenix takes it surprisingly well, all said. Like as soon as as this starts to go down, he goes, oh, I was set up.
Yeah.
Like he kind of catches on pretty quick, all said. For being like our good old idiot Phoenix who just presents his page like willy-nilly, he does then kind of go like, all right, I guess this is happening now. I'm just gonna take this. I can't talk my way out of this one, huh?
I
to
think
be fair, it's pretty obvious that he was set up. Like,
yeah,
even from his perspective.
When you have your attorney badge, it lowers your wisdom but increases your intelligence. And then when the attorney badge is gone, you lose the intelligence buff. So like you become wise again, and that's why he became such a fucking asshole in the future. Is that he wasn't smart anymore? He was just like wise. And it's like, oh god, I hate wise Phoenix, right? Fuck you. It was almost like too quick on the draw. Like the fact that the Clavier was like, I know exactly what page that is, you stupid son of a bitch. You fell in
you're supposed to find it a little sus, obviously, because we learn more details later.
You fell into my guitar string spider web, and now my fucking domain expansion is gonna take your life. You idiot. And then afterwards you're like, alright, cool, so your client's totally guilty. And then Phoenix is like, well, no, even though I fucked up, my client isn't guilty. And then your client goes, I'm a fucking magician, you idiots, and then poofs out of the courtroom.
Yeah, he just disappears. Zach just goes like, Pacha! And like throws a smoke bomb down and just disappears. We later learn that he just runs out of the courtroom, which is so funny to me. He just books it.
It's at this point where Wright is like, this case never got an ending because the client was not declared guilty because he ran away. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you could declare someone guilty if they're not there, but like, whatever, man. Whatever you say. So that was the case that ruined Phoenix's Wright's life. I can't believe his life got ruined by a bunch of magicians, but here we are.
Yep.
Can't believe his life got ruined by doing something that prosecutors have done multiple times in the past.
Present false and tampered with evidence, but whatever.
Yeah. To be fair, Edgeworth did go to the Alps for a year, so he made up for it.
Yeah, hey, listen, I have been so good, I have barely talked about Miles. Where the fuck is he?
He's climbing Mount Everest or some shit.
He's not.
Yeah, he's jet setting around in He's jet setting around in Europe. He's very busy. doing other things. And also, we later learn that when Phoenix is disbarred, right? We later learn that every single person voted to disbar him except for one man, and that was Christoph Gavin. He was on the council, apparently.
The council?
Whatever group of people, whatever group of lawmakers or lawyers or whatever who judged Phoenix for his crime of presenting forged... Yeah, for presenting forged evidence. Christoph decided to be kinder and vote not to disbar Phoenix, but he couldn't, overrule the rest of the group. And I'd love. We said this on stream with Iro. Like, we'd love to imagine that the rest of the council is like every other prosecutor that Phoenix ever went up against,
including Miles Edgeworth.
and they're all just like, nope, guilty. Phoenix, right? Absolutely, get that guy's badge out of here.
Miles would never.
No,
you can, I said, that's why we can say he's away in Europe, so he wasn't here to help out.
Like, because he would take a fucking overnight flight back to Japanifornia for any, literally, Larry calls him and goes, "Oh, Phoenix is in trouble," and he fucking books it over here.
Yeah.
What has to have happened is just nobody told him.
Miles Edgeworth is currently going through the plot of 127 hours, but it's 7 years.
He's never climbed a mountain in his life.
That's why he's in the plot. That's why he gets his arm stuck.
I'm so excited when we get to investigations.
He's literally not. He's somewhere. He's in Paris.
Somewhere.
He's got amnesia.
You know what? You're right. He got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher in Paris, and that's why he isn't here to save Phoenix.
So after we go through this case about what ruined Phoenix Wright's life, we now enter the Wright Zone.
The Mason system. You load it up, and this graphic comes up, and it goes, the Mason system.
The what? The
Mason.
what?
The what?
You may be asking yourself, dear listener, the what system? I don't know. I have no idea.
This is a part of the system that...
What system?
Phoenix walks up and he introduces you to it. He says, "This is the Mason system. You're a jurist." And weirdly enough, they kind of use juror and jurist. They kind of misuse the term a little bit there.
I actually didn't think that jurist was a word. And I still am not sure if it's a word or if they're just fucking with me.
They're fucking with you.
I double checked this. According to the wiki, the term jurist can refer to a judge or an expert in the law, whereas a member of the jury is a juror, but they keep calling them jurists, even though they're technically jurors. So it's weird. It's goofy. Who knows? The Mason system maybe is a reference to Perry Mason, maybe not. I don't know for sure. That's what I thought.
They drop it out of nowhere. It's this cool ass Y2K screen, and it's fun.
You got computer numbers floating everywhere. It's like you're in the Matrix.
And I wanted to love it so hard, and I was so mad.
So, my issue with it is that they never introduced this before in the game. This is something dropped in our lap right here and then. Second thing, I thought the Mason system was a reference to the Freemasons. I thought it was just a really American system.
I wish, buddy. Oh my god, if it had been the Freemasons, I would be psyched. I'll tell you my Freemason story some other time.
Theory,
oh yeah, the Freemasons. The Freemasons framed Phoenix, right? Because they knew that if he got away with it.
I have a very specific grudge against the Freemasons, and it is
Phoenix Wright. I need you to steal the Declaration of Independence.
It is highly localized to the Boston area, so let's keep going with this for now.
Trucy Wright would steal the Declaration of Independence.
So Phoenix says, "Hey, guess what? You're a juror. You are using the Mason system. This is a computer system that you can look at the past and the future evidence that we have collected so far for this case. Go on a little journey through all of these scenes from the past and present and gather your evidence so that you can make your decision about whether Vera Misham actually killed her father or not." And I feel like there's plenty of evidence to exonerate Vera already at this point, but we are given this menu with these various scenes. I believe it's 4 scenes from the past and 4 scenes from the present, in which you tap on the menu option and then the camera kind of zooms into the scene, and then it's like a little one-panel investigation scene. Like, you can't walk around. The walking around is moving through the Mason system, and choosing a different scene from the past or present to go to. But once you get there, there's typically one person in front of you. You talk to them. You can sometimes get evidence from them. And the wildest part is, if you get evidence from them, when you go to another scene, all your evidence persists. So you can take evidence from the past to the future and from the future to the past, because it's not really real. You are a juror looking at stuff that has already happened. Like, that's the conceit, is you're supposed to be like a juror who's looking at all this and in some way, like we're mixing our metaphors a little bit here, because when you get into the scene, though, you are playing as Phoenix, right? And you are talking to this person as Phoenix, and you're presenting evidence as Phoenix. But then when you come back out of the system, or out of the scene, and you're just in the menus of the system, then you are, quote unquote, a juror. And all of this evidence has been gathered by Phoenix, and I feel like I got to say this now to like establish the setup, even though this is revealed at the very end of the Mason system. But all of this has been recorded by Phoenix Wright on a spy camera in the button on his beanie cap. So this whole time, Phoenix has been recording all this evidence and shit that's been happening from 7 years ago and from the present.
So,
California is a 2-party consent state.
This is Japanifornia. We have
Japan.
No 2-party consent.
I know. Japan recording laws, because I did talk to Rose about this earlier before the podcast. Japan's recording laws, I looked into this, they're not 2-party consent. You can record somebody else without their consent, but presenting it in court or using it or like sharing it with the police for that sort of thing gets a little legally murkier, and it was a little tough for me to see exactly what you're allowed to do. But yes, so we're running into, again, this is 2026. Maybe the laws in Japanifornia have changed since then, since now, where California is a 2-party consent state. But it's just, it's
most
it's
states
very
are
goofy.
2-party consent states. You cannot record somebody unless you ask their permission and consent to be recorded. That's a cool tip for everybody.
So, something I like about the Mason system is that when you fully exhaust one location, their check mark appears next to that location, and it's grayed out, so you can't go back. I think that's wonderful, because I'm tired of the running back and forth between.
So I had a weird interaction.
Okay.
So I got the end scene sepia tone fade out in, I think it's like the past when you talk to, or no, it's the present. I'm air quoting super hard right now.
It's the present when you talk to Shady Smith.
When you talk to Shady Smith, which is not the present. It's not. It's also the past, because he's been dead for several weeks. But if you talk to him, and I went into this and I thought, okay, the past, I'm going to be Phoenix. And when I switch to the present, I'm going to be Apollo.
No.
I had no basis for this. I just assumed foolishly, because Apollo was the main character, that I would be Apollo in the future, the present, whatever. So I thought, okay, I've got to complete all these past scenes, and then I'll take all the evidence I get from the past, I give it to Apollo, and I will do the Apollo scenes in the future. So apparently I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I spent so much time struggling trying to pick up items that I couldn't pick up that I knew were the right answer. Like, for example, the nail polish bottle, if you're in the past, you cannot pick it up.
Yes.
You have to go to the future and bring the nail polish bottle back to the past. And I am like, oh, thank you. No.
This is probably the biggest sin of the Mason system, is the fact that
it's so bad.
You're not supposed to be able to interact. I don't think they should be able to interact.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I fucked up. I got off of my complaint, my original complaint, which was Tiago was talking about the check marks, and I like the check marks, but I got that sepia tone fade out when you talk to Zach in the present.
Yeah.
But he still had Cyclops.
Yeah.
And
So
I thought that I had fucked up, and I wasn't able to break the Cyclops, and so I left because I got the fade out. I thought I was done, and then later I went back and I was like, oh, I didn't get a check mark.
yeah, so that's why the check marks are there, to let you know that you're not done.
It's good. I'm mad they gave me the fade out because nothing else did that.
That's fair.
In the other like 7, there was nothing that it gave me the like you're done fade out and didn't give me the check mark.
It's a fake out, fade out situation.
Yeah, which I feel like I've been faked out enough. I already have the main character from the previous trilogy telling me this will be like a video game. It's gonna be fun. Like, I went to law school. I took the bar.
All right, so
I was gonna say for these scenes mainly, there's a couple like important bits. The main, I think probably like, I thought some of the fun bits were we get to meet Mike Meekins.
He's a bailiff now?
Yeah, he's a bailiff, and he's the one who let Zach get away because he was tricked by Trucy's Mr. Hat.
Very funny.
And I thought a lot of the dialogue for Mike Meekins I thought was really funny. I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, man, they did so much better with Mike this time around. I thought it was also, maybe it was just because it was a small dose of Mike Meekins, but I found him like way more entertaining this time around.
Mike Meekins is like sugar. You pour a little bit into your coffee and you don't eat it by the gallon.
Yeah. And then you get the Valent stuff because you get to talk to Valent in the past as well in the detention center, and you kind of, this is where you like establish like, you know, that Zach was married to Thalassa, and who was Magnifi's daughter. That she was the third person out of the troop because it was Zach, Thalassa, and Valent were the trio of the troop there. And Thalassa is, you know, the one who was, quote unquote, killed in their quick draw shoot 'em trick that went horribly wrong.
That sounds so safe.
So, yeah.
Magnifi used this to like blackmail Zach and Valent into, you know, doing his bidding over the last couple years.
Yeah.
It's really wild. It's kind of fucked up.
And Zach is married to her, so he thinks he killed his own wife.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also there is the part in the past where you have to convince, you have to break Valent's Cyclops. Got super pissed because it was like, oh, prove that your job is dangerous. Or like,
show him a gun.
And I was like, okay, here's the gun. And then there was another one where it was like, oh, like, honestly, super vague. I didn't remember what it was, but I was 110% convinced the answer was like the picture of Thalassa, where I was like, it's her. Look at her. You guys killed her. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And apparently what I had to do was the stamp instead of the picture of her.
Because the stamp shows all of them together.
That one was a stretch.
That was the worst, like, evidence presenting. Like, I had to look it up. Anytime I have to look something up, you know, I usually take a little time. I think about it. Sometimes I'm sure I have the right answer, so I check to make sure I'm right. And I usually am. But if I have to think about it so much that I can't come up with the answer and I have to look at a guide, failure of the game designer.
That's a failure of the game designer? Game overs are a failure of the game designer? Is that what you're saying?
No. I can't. I will hunt David Cage for sport. Let's move on.
Alright, so before...
Phoenix... go ahead,
I just had one more thing to say, is while you're in the Mason system playing as Phoenix, you get access to the Magatama, and you're doing Cyclops and shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should
We
talk
forgot
about
to say that? We're doing Cyclops again, boy! Guess what? This mechanic's way fucking better than the Psycho Eye attack!
Yes, it is! I like that they added a little button you can press in the talk screen, because having to go back in and present it was kind of annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, now they just have it on the menu, and it lights up if you can do it, basically.
We got introduced to a fun new mechanic that I think is one of the few things... Like, there's a couple little, like, story bits in here that carried me along. But, when you fucking go to, Kristoff's jail cell, which is very
go
hype
ahead and talk about
and
this.
super well decorated, by the way.
This is one of, like, the biggest, like, oh shit moments in all of the games, I feel like. The fandom has, like, really rallied around this moment as being, like, a big holy shit moment. And I agree.
I felt it. Okay, so you talk to him, and you're like, why? What the fuck and why? And he's so, like, one of the ways I take notes is I take photos of my screen. I have a lot of photos of that conversation. So, like, I thought it was really interesting, where he's super evasive, and he's like, I just killed this guy because I'm evil, and now I'm in prison. What do you want from me? You know?
Guy.
Like, he's
mocking Phoenix, right? He's just like, oh, well, obviously I'm an evil man who just murders because I'm evil. That's why I'm in prison, Phoenix.
Yeah,
you know,
obviously.
Kristoff is just, like, being very smarmy.
Yeah.
Just like, leave me alone, Phoenix. I'm here in my luxury prison cell.
Yeah,
like, I'm evil.
And honestly, like, I just got the impression where he was like, it's fucking solved. I'm in jail. Like, what do you want from me? And you were like, no, tell me why you did this. And the screen goes black. And the chains appear, and I'm like, oh shit, oh fuck. The most Cyclops I've ever seen on a character. And they're black, which we have not seen before. So I'm losing my shit. The dog is in the other room. She's like, why is Rose freaking out? She's colorblind, so she doesn't know. But like, wow. And Phoenix straight up is like, I don't know what this is. That's scary. And you leave. You cannot. You do not have the option to present the Magatama. You are not allowed to try.
Yeah, he's just like, those are unbreakable. I can't. That's scary. I can't do anything about that. That's fucked up.
It's fucked up. I've gotta go. I've never seen that before, and I don't want to see it anymore. And you just leave. And I think that's amazing. Like,
yes, it's very good.
What's back there? We don't really find out.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Never know.
Game never tells you. It leaves that one dangling, and I love it for that.
Sick, because like the whole time I was like, wow, I feel like there's something going on with this family. You know, the Gavin brothers clearly have a dynamic that we do not know what it is. Something's happening, and we never know. It is behind those Cyclops, and the game won't even let us try.
Yep.
That's how scary those are. It was amazing.
Did you have a strong reaction to it as well, Tiago, or were you just like, oh, it's just more Cyclops?
Yeah, I saw this shit on Tumblr.
Oh.
I knew
you had it spoiled for you a while ago.
I knew that like Black Cyclops existed. I didn't know they were Kristoffs. That's why I'm surprised. I thought they were Edgeworths. So that's why I was like,
oh no, I fucking cracked that man like an egg.
Yeah, he's so yes, he's like very this is the first time we see like the smuggest look on Kristoff ever, where he like tilts his head up and looks down at you. And he has like this weird lighting effect where there's like light and shadow to make him look extra villainous.
Fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
He has the undershadows and stuff.
Yeah, it's very good.
But like, so stuff you find out in the past is that like, oh yeah, the Gramarys killed Dallas, the last Gramary, the only daughter to the Gramary line. And then you see a photo of Philosopher, and it's like, yeah, she's cool, whatever. And then like,
I called it, by the way, instantly. The second they were like, she was his daughter, I was like, I know who this is.
So like, here's the other thing is that
the other big oh shit moment.
Also called that.
I had no idea. I had no idea this was gonna happen. I'm legitimately surprised. Is that so? Like, we go to the present. We go to the scene where Shady Smith is talking to Phoenix right before he's ganked. Which, by the way, Shady is so fucking aggressive at me, despite ruining my life.
He's literally physically abusive towards Toothbrush Man. Like, this dude sucks, actually. I'm glad that he doesn't have Trucy anymore.
Like, he set up a scam to scheme Phoenix Wright out of his winning streak. Like, what the fuck, dog?
He's literally, again, physically hitting Brush Guy.
Brushell's
Whatever
okay
his
with
name
it, though.
is.
Brushell.
Yeah, Brushell's like, oh, you punched me 5 times today, or something like that. It's like, what?
Meekins is getting physically abused by this guy, and it's like, oh, but he's my friend. Like, buddy, get out, leave. Although him being like, oh, I'm a registered notary, just out of nowhere, laughed my ass off. Thought that was so funny.
It's just okay. Brushell is so involved in this case for being a random NPC. He's so involved. He's involved in the past. He's involved in the present. He's a registered notary. He's a reporter. He's got secret details on Thalassa that he tells Wright about. Like, he's got so much info. It's like, dude, you got toothbrush for hair. What are you doing here? How did this happen that you got all roped up in this?
He's a registered notary.
We never see him again. Thanks, registered notary Brushell.
So Zach comes back. He gives Phoenix a letter being like, oh yeah, when Trucy comes of age, give her the rights to all the magic tricks. And then Phoenix goes, oh, by the way, Valen's doing really shitty. And Zach goes, okay, I'll simply just confess to the murder. And Phoenix is like, but you didn't do it, though. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm a ghost. And then let's go play a really aggressive game of poker. And then that's where he dies. And that's the last we see of Shady, Graham Marie Smith, Zach guy. But
here's the thing, we did not, are you about to go into, like, we did not clarify what he reveals to Phoenix. Like, Phoenix and him go back and forth, and they fully lay out about the family tree here.
Oh, the psycho eye attack.
So,
how it
literally...
works.
And who's related to who?
The second they're like, oh, she was married before me, and I just sat right up, and I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And then he goes, and she had a kid. And I'm like, fucking Apollo's half magician. It's like in Yu-Gi-Oh! When you find out you're half clown. Follow me on Twitter at Rose Nonsense for me and my friends. Clown is a separate subspecies in Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory.
Alright, so what happens is that Zach... I thought it was fucking Brushell who reveals the photo about Zach's wife.
Brushell gives you the photo, yes.
That's
where you see.
I figured it out way too early.
Maybe. So Zach goes on to describe how the power works, and here's how the power works: is that the user is really good at recognizing tension, which is displayed by changes in body heat. In which, once the user recognizes changes in body heat, they themselves will also change in body heat because they are seeing it. Which causes the bracelets to contract, because the bracelets have the ability to shrink and grow to the user. But when you're highly tense...
Magic bracelet!
Now, this was like, okay, this is that moment in JoJo where you reveal that the user's ability isn't actually just super precision, it's the ability to stop time, and that's why you have Star Platinum the world. So you have Psycho Eye Attack the world, essentially. And fucking... So, like, I'm like, this is dumb and stupid, but I'm here for it. I already have the Magatama. What the fuck else, right? Brushell then gives you a photo of Thalassa being like, yeah, Zach doesn't like to talk about his wife. He likes beating me instead. And shows this photo of Thalassa wearing the 2 bracelets. And then Brushell's like, oh, by the way, when she came back, she was only wearing 1. And you're just sitting there being like, huh, weird bracelet, man. And
then you're talking to Zach and you lay it all out with him. You lay it all out. You're like, so yeah, Trucy might be your daughter, but Apollo was the kid that Thalassa had with her first husband. So Trucy and Apollo...
Unnamed circus performer.
Yes, so Trucy and Apollo are siblings.
They're half brother and sister.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. They're half siblings.
That makes sense. They act like half brother and sister.
They have the same hair color too.
She even says, "Wow, you're like a big little brother to me."
Yeah, that was a little ham-fisted, but also I love it.
I could see how the lasso is related to Trucy because they have the both like hair curl.
Yeah.
But like I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, whatever. So then you go on to talk to Valiant in the current timeline, and Valiant's like about to open up his big shade straw, and then Phoenix is like, hey, by the way, I'm dropping this bomb on you. Your brother, I don't know if they're actually brothers. Zach's alive, and
No.
he's giving Trucy the rights, you stupid idiot. And
Well,
Valiant
he's
goes,
dead now.
well, he didn't know that he was dead. Valiant doesn't know that Shady Smith was Zach.
Right.
So Valiant's like, wow, I hope that one day I get to meet Zach and apologize to his face. Because it turns
Valiant's
out...
mustache literally ages him up like 30 years.
I
Magnific...
like him better with the mustache.
Valiant confesses in the current timeline, and he goes, yeah, Magnifi killed himself, and I thought to myself, well, if he's going to give Zach all the rights to the magic trick, I'll just simply frame him so I get it. And then 7 years pass, and I feel really bad about this, so I guess I'll confess. And it's like, you stupid bastard. Now you choose to be guilty? Fuck you, Valiant. Fuck you, Zach.
Magicians. I hate all the magicians except for Trucy.
Trucy's the only good magician.
She's the only one that deserves to be a magician.
Everyone else, get the fuck out of here. Trucy's the only one.
So then the last person you visit in the current... Oh, wait. Yeah. The last person you visit in the current timeline is Kristoff again. Because when you first go to Kristoff, he tells you to fuck off. But then when you come back, he's not in his cell, and you find a letter on his table. And on that letter...
And you steal his mail.
You steal his mail, which has
a crime! Even for a man in prison.
Which has the commemorative stamp that Vera saved as a child. We also completely forgot to go over Vera in the past. Kid Vera.
Yeah, we do get to meet Kid Vera in the past.
Kid Vera,
I mean,
we
get a little bit of, like, confirmation that the client is Kristoff, then.
But
they don't,
only
like,
if you bring evidence back from the future.
From the future,
which is
yeah.
readily available in the past. But you can't collect it unless you're in the future because fuck you, Rose, I guess.
She calls him angelic. She says he's angelic, but then that she sees the devil for a second.
His name is Lucifer Morningstar.
Wow.
And so Phoenix is like, it was Kristoff, wasn't it? And she's like, oh, I can't say, but she reacts to it, you know. So Phoenix is like, oh yeah, it was Kristoff.
The client gave me a good luck charm that I used to go out. And then you find out that both Vera and Kristoff have the same brand of nail polish.
Alright, so let's talk about
we also find out that the judge's wife paints her nails red.
And he thought they were just like that.
He just thought they were just like that.
He thought they were like that.
Oh my god, this fucking Archie character.
What
Rose,
a
what
pig.
were you about to say about this nail polish?
Alright, so the nail polish reveal is obviously, it's
insane.
It's Kristoff. It's wild. It's crazy. It's stupid. But it also could work. But she is not killed by the dose that she receives. Because obviously the dosage she receives is meant for a 12-year-old.
Oh. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Fucked up is that?
That he was about to poison a 12-year-old?
He was intending to kill that 12-year-old girl.
Yes. Kristoff Gavin creates a trap in which that he tells Drew Misham, oh, by the way, send me a letter back and use this specific stamp, the commemorative stamp. But then Vera goes, oh, what a pretty stamp that has my favorite magicians. I'll put this in a frame. So the bomb never goes off. But then Kristoff had a backup plan where he gave a good luck charm to a little girl and says, hey, if you're ever nervous and have to go outside, use this nail polish. It'll guard you. And she goes, okay, and then has a nail-biting addiction for 7 years.
Honestly, I don't even think it's a backup plan. He was just going to kill both of them.
Right.
Yeah,
and the idea is that if she does not go outside, because she's very introverted, right? If she does not go outside into the outside world, she won't get nervous and she won't bite her nails. But if she goes into the outside world and gets nervous by everything that happens out there, she'll get nervous and bite her nails and essentially poison herself without unknowingly. So that's why he was like, you always gotta stay home. Gotta stay home and be a forger for me forever, kind of thing.
He dosed it for a 12-year-old girl. He's fucking insane. I love it.
Yeah.
He's batshit. She survived, so it's okay. Everybody. Spoilers.
So it is at this point that, like, you pretty much have everything laid out in front of you before you even do the court segment. Kristoff asked for that piece of forged evidence, which was then handed to Phoenix Wright, which ruined Phoenix Wright's life. Kristoff also created 2 traps to kill the forgers, one of them being the stamp, the other one being the nail polish. So it is at this point where Vera is 100% not guilty.
Yeah.
And we're done!
You also
but we still gotta go to court.
You find out about the family bloodline and their fucking Keke Genkai that they both have. Fucking Phoenix knows that Apollo's Trucy's sibling. He knows the truth.
He's half magician.
And hasn't mentioned it this entire time.
It's terminal.
Now here's something, is that when you're in the future and you're going through Phoenix Wright's inner monologue, is that he's still dumb as hell. Like, he's still the dumb Phoenix that we know, but he pretends to have this wise air about him. And I think he should just embrace the fact that he's a dipshit. And we'd all be happier. Instead he has to be this fucking Kakashi-like figure, and no one wants this.
So you wrap up the Mason system. You wrap it all up, and we do the reveal. The camera pans back, like as you wrap up in the final segment of Kristoff's, jail cell, when you looked at the yellow envelope, and camera pulls back, and it starts to warp as you realize that this is all being seen through the eye of a camera lens. And then the camera pulls back even further, and you see that this camera lens is inside of the button on Phoenix Wright's beanie. Like we said earlier.
California,
and he's been recording it this
state.
It's been recording this whole time, and then Phoenix says, "All right, jury, you've got all the information. Now it's all up to Apollo in the court to bring it all together." And then you save, and as you come back into the game, you are playing as Apollo again, finally.
The button,
and now you start the final court segment. Yeah.
We thought it would never happen. Quick note, the button is the same button that Emma Skies wears during case 1-5. Does that mean Emma Sky
she gave it to him?
I think the implication is that she also just recorded all of case 1-5 and was going to use it against me. She's like, by the way...
We could have used that in court.
That's true, we could have used it in court. Also, does that mean that Phoenix Wright has been wearing the same bumwear for 7 years?
Yes.
Because he had to have the button in the past, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the second he loses his badge, he's like, alright, gray sweats, Adidas sweatpants, and sandals is gonna be the only thing I wear for 7 years.
At least,
what the fuck are those?
Man.
What are they called?
Crocs?
No, the guys who wear the full Adidas jump.
Oh, Slavs from fucking Russia?
No, there's an actual word for
This
it.
is stereotyping. But yes.
So
we
get into court.
Yes. We go into court. We're Apollo Justice. It is at this point that they put on the inflatable tubes on the side of the bowling alley, and every single ball was a fucking, what do they call it in bowling when you get all the pins down? It's not a slam dunk. A strike. There it is. Thank you.
A softball.
Yeah. Honestly, it was at this point where the game became almost its easiest, because you had all the information, you had all the evidence. What the fuck else could you need, right? It just becomes like a visual novel at this point. I did not have any.
The game is a visual novel in a way, but
this was the easiest part of the game for me.
There's so little to really mess up at this point. It's like you said. It's like the bumpers are up and you can't really fail. I mean, listen, they give you some high penalties to try to make it risky, but yes, you are kind of going through the motions and just proving everything at this point.
When you use the Psycho Eye attack on Kristoff Gavin, I decided to go back to my initial game design philosophy, which is, alright, if the sprite has something incredibly noticeable about it, maybe that's where the tick is. And Kristoff Gavin's special tick
is
that
we gotta talk about this.
When he's
it's
really
insane.
nervous, his muscles in his hand contracts and shows a skull face.
He's got a skull on his hand.
I for the first time ever, I figured out what it was, and I was like, it's got to be the hand because this is the only one that's different. I'll go by Tiago's philosophy. I'll see what I can find. What the fuck? Why his hands do that?
And
the devil. That's the devil.
And when you call him out on it, Kristoff's like, "How do you know?" And Apollo's like, "A little devil told me." And I'm like,
that was honestly some of the worst written dialogue in this game so far. I'm gonna be real with you all. Like,
that's inadmissible in court, Apollo.
This sucks. Also, but like, I saw it objectively, but like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, he's got this like cool little scar in his hand too. Like, what's up with that? We'll never know.
You know what it is?
Like the scar, like
it's
makes the teeth
rad.
on the skull, right? Like it's kind of like the scar, and then the muscles contracting in his hand makes a skull.
Stupid.
And Rose, it bites the dust. It's the ultimate stand on his hands.
It's just not admissible.
Delightfully goofy to me.
It's not allowed. We cannot put this in court.
That's because Apollo Justice can see stands. He's got the fucking Kekkei Genkai. So, like, the Psycho Eye Attack.
Okay, he can. The Psycho Eye Attack can see your stand. It's still not admissible in court.
Oh, dude, hell no.
Also, I can't. He fucking turns into it. Couldn't they think of anything else? Else?
So, Clavier, before we bring Kristoff Gavin into the fucking courtroom,
is like, this is Clavier's no good, very bad day, too.
Clavier goes, alright, there's no reason to bring Vera back out here. She's guilty. And it's like, I mean, there's no reason to bring Clavier here. Vera's guilty. She tried to poison herself on the stand. And Paulo's like, I'd like to accuse your brother. And he goes, yeah, alright. Bring him out. Bring him out.
The whole time he keeps being like, Apollo, do you have evidence of this? Yes or no? And Apollo keeps being like, I do. And Clavier's like, okay, you better. And I want to know what that's about, and we never find out.
Well, no, I think the implication is that Clavier knows that there's some darkness inside Kristoff, and that's why
he has to.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to admit that he was being manipulated by his brother early on, and it was for a really, really shitty reason. I think the most important. I just want to know
more.
The most important thing about Clavier is that he's definitively lawful good, which with an emphasis on lawful. Like, he always plays by the rules. He never plays the prosecutor who straight up helps the defense attorney. He encourages the defense attorney to bring out the evidence. He knows his role, and he knows what Apollo is supposed to do. So he lets Apollo do what he needs to do. But he's also like, Apollo, I put up the fucking bumpers for you. Okay? Get me a strike.
Get a home run.
Get a home run. Get a slam dunk. Get a touchdown. Every other sport metaphor. So, I really like this. Clavier sweating bullets because he's realizing that his brother is a super evil mega genius. Apollo's like, here's all the evidence. Why did Kristoff kill Shady Smith? Because that was Zach Gramarye. And then we all look at Trucy to see her breakdown, because it's like, we just announced that your dad got killed in court. And she goes, Apollo, keep going. You gotta win.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. And it's like, okay.
Trucy's
guess what you don't do?
Trucy.
Yeah, she figured it out. She's not an idiot.
Yeah, she knew.
She's all right. She has another daddy.
Okay, so Apollo brings out a bunch of evidence. Apollo brings up the envelope, and then Kristoff goes, I didn't give consent for that to be shown, so can't use it. And then
also, to be clear, this yellow envelope is not the original envelope. It is just a placeholder. Phoenix Wright made like an envelope,
a copy,
a yellow envelope that like mock up essentially to like be like the stand-in for the proof.
So how is that supposed to work again? Because
I think the idea is like,
I didn't understand that it was a mock-up, even though I examined it multiple times.
So I think it's like the same thing that was supposed to be done with the previous case, where we had the little like fake cocoon. Is that we're just supposed to present it as if it was the real cocoon, and then tell everybody in court, hey, by the way, this is not real. This is just a mock-up, okay?
Dramatization.
We all know. It's a dramatization.
And you've seen the video of Kristoff's cell, apparently, where the real yellow envelope is, and Phoenix had to put it back.
Yeah.
You know. So the idea is to, I believe, simply, like, what they're trying to do here is since we are now in front of a jury, it is to show the jury, like, remember that yellow envelope from Christoph's cell? Keep that in mind, jury. Keep that in mind. I'm showing it. This is a mock-up, but keep that in mind now, as
they
we
won't
go
let you
forward.
use it at the courtroom, but maybe if you guys are convinced.
So Christoph also then like starts to basically brag outright.
Yeah.
He's like, everything went perfectly for me. Like, everything went the way I wanted it to go. Am I admitting to anything? No. But did it go perfectly? Yes.
I fed Clavier information about the fact that there was going to be forged evidence in the case, and that got Phoenix Wright disembarred, because I was supposed to be Zach Gramarie's attorney. I was supposed to get the fame over resolving the greatest magician case of all time. But instead that twit, Phoenix Wright got it. And so, who cares that his career was ruined and Zach Gramarye was a sham? Everything went out perfect for me. I'm Christoph Gavin. I like poetry.
You're in prison.
But no, he didn't get caught for it.
That was part of his plan.
So, like, Clavier's like, Christoph, you fed me information. You're an asshole too, man. And Christoph's like, my brother's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Judge, end this. And
send
the
him
judge
to the principal's office.
Send him, Mr. Spark. Send him to the principal's office. He stole fizzy lifty drink.
He's so mean.
Ruined his dream diary.
He's so mean to Clavier too. Like, he calls him like useless multiple times. Like,
yeah,
what's going on here, guys?
And the whole time I was playing this segment, the whole time I was playing this segment, I was like, "This is so Rose Core with Christoph and Clavier going at each other."
I love it. I think they're both great, and I wish that I knew what was going on, but I don't. Yeah. I'll just have to make something up for myself.
Christoph's so like you find out Christoph's motivation for all this shit. And then you find out, like, but you don't have any evidence. You have a motive, but you can't prove it, idiot. You're stupid. Call this case over. And then the judge is like, Christoph, we got bad news, buddy. You're on candid camera. And, and Christoph goes, wait, what? And then it's like, this is a test of the jury system. Phoenix Wright set it up so that a bunch of jurors would be watching this and deliberating. And then it is at this point that we've had like a zoom out for a little bit whenever like we want to go back and look at stuff, but like it is at this point where Trucy, Apollo, and Clavier look at the camera, and then it zooms out, and it turns out to be that this is all something that the jurors are watching, and then Christoph loses it.
They look directly into the camera. Iro said this on stream. It's like a Monkey Island joke.
Yeah, it is.
Their little tiny sprites turn and like look at the camera. It's so good.
I love Space Quest.
I got so weirded out. I literally just mashed through it. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I keep going.
Christoph loses it because he's like, how could you let these dribbling masses in my law?
These common folk.
I finally got the breakdown. I finally got my breakdown.
It's a really good breakdown.
It is good. One of the most satisfying animations.
He looks so fucked up. It's so great. It's very sexy.
So as Clavier is very lawful good, Christoph is very lawful evil. Because he expected to get away with all this, but he's like, now Vera will take the fall, and it's like, dude, Vera's in a coma, man. She's probably not going to get guilty. And then we have a little scene where the jurors are like, where Phoenix Wright's talking to all the jurors and is like, by the way, jurors, you now have the option to vote whether or not Vera Misham was guilty or not. And juror number 6 stands up and goes, hey, I wasn't supposed to be related to the case. Am I supposed to be here? And Phoenix Wright goes, you're not related to the case. A wink. And then number 6 is like,
this is a definitive conflict of interest coming up here in a moment.
So then you as the player have control of juror number 6, who's been watching this entire court case go down and just went through the Mason system. And you have 2 buttons in front of you, guilty or not guilty. So you choose not guilty, and then you rise your arm. Oh, by the way, the reflection is Lamoire. It's Lammy.
Yeah.
She's juror number 6.
I called it so early.
I did not know
I'm a
that.
genius.
This is the second thing I did. I did not know. I was also surprised by this. So she chooses not guilty, and when she raises her hand up to hit the submit button, her sleeve comes back and reveals the other bracelet. Lemroar is Thalassa.
Yeah.
And
because she has memory loss and she's blind, and there's a dark secret in her past. Ooh.
I pogchamped in real life.
That's rough, buddy.
I was so excited. I teared up. I legit teared up in life and was like, oh my god, she's alive. And it's Lammy. My mom's a pop star.
Finally, somebody has some money in this goddamn family.
Yeah.
So you vote for not guilty, and Kristoff just goes back to jail.
Did anyone vote for guilty, by the way, just to see what happened?
No.
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
wrong
if you vote for guilty, you get a bad ending. You get like a whole little scene of a bad ending in which Vera dies in the hospital from the poisoning.
Fuck?
She doesn't make it. Yeah, she doesn't make it through.
How does she know?
Yeah, and like everybody's just like, man, the whole juror thing didn't go very well, and it's not very long, but it's just only like 3 or 4 lines of dialogue. But that is essentially the wrap up.
Yo, that's evil
That's
as
the bad
fuck.
end.
Holy shit! I appreciate the
You can
game
just
giving me
press
the option.
give me the bad end button, huh?
Yep.
I mean,
if you want.
Low key, I would if this was a Uchikoshi game, but this is a different game. So, Very gets off scot-free, and what happens to Kristoff? I totally does he just go home? Does he just go back to jail?
There is a really good, like, it's
His band
only
breaks
black
up.
and... It's a... What? Sorry.
His band breaks up. Or you mean Clavier.
Oh, Kristoff!
Oh,
No,
oh
I
my
meant...
god, we were talking...
We're mixing them up
what
again.
the fuck?
I cannot tell the difference between these two K-fucks.
I can. Okay, so, Kristoff, the one who murders people.
The evil one.
Also, like, by the way, you don't come up with an elaborate, like, poisoning plot to kill a man and his 12-year-old daughter on your first time. This
Oh
guy's
yeah,
killed
no,
a
he's
lot of-
absolutely killed before.
He's killed before, and he would again if we hadn't stopped him.
Yes.
He probably did in the meantime. Who the fuck knows? No, we get a very sick but sadly entirely black and white animation. Where they're like, yeah, they read the verdict and he just fucking laughed for so long that everyone was extremely uncomfortable.
It's very funny.
And there's a really good animation of him just like crazy laughing, and it's black and white, and that's sad. But what can you do?
So yeah, and then we have a wrap-up segment, and the wrap-up segment is done from the. So we start off with Vera. We're in the hospital. Vera got out of the coma. She knew that she was innocent and decided to wake up. And Apollo and Juicy are like, Vera, you're innocent. And Vera's like, yay. And it's like, now I'm going to go out into the real world to experience life. And Apollo's like, it looks like the poison killed off her introvertness. And I went, Apollo...
She became neurotypical.
Apollo, you yoga committing fuck. I hate you. You piece of shit.
Apollo Justice would be like, have you tried yoga?
Apollo Justice goes,
Have you tried not being depressed?
I would just simply walk outside.
And just like smile more.
Smile more.
Oh,
And so like Vera's like, I'm gonna go into the real world. Here's a drawing for both Trucy and Apollo, and I think the Trucy drawing she does is very cute.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is very good.
And then she does an Apollo drawing, which is just his hair strands, and I think that's very funny. And then there's a third drawing where it's Trucy, Apollo, and Mr. Hat, and Vera goes, I love magicians, even though I low-key caused the death of, like, a couple of them. And we move on.
She was 12, it's not her fault.
It's not her fault, but, like, yeah, it's not her fault. And then we go on to the other thing where it's, like, Phoenix and Thalassa are talking, and it's like, hey Thalassa, I'm glad you got your memory back. And
yeah, she just gets her memory back,
dude,
by the way.
When you participate in the jury system, you get your memory back. That's
you're-
doing civil
That's your
duty.
reward.
If your eye disease gets fixed, your memory returns. And by eye disease, I presume I mean intense brain trauma from a bullet passing through your skull.
Yeah,
given
probably.
the circumstances.
Nah, it was just cataracts.
So she goes, Jesus. So she goes, should I reveal the truth? And Phoenix is like, no, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And then, like, I imagine that Phoenix writes a note to himself, but like, remember to tell Trucy and Apollo their siblings, folds it in his pocket, and then forgets about it.
And as he's walking out, he gets hit by a car.
He puts it through the washing machine, and the note falls apart.
don't do that. Note becomes a little ball, and Apollo's like, the Phoenix is like, damn it, my receipts. Fuck. And then we have a scene where we have a credit scene with all the NPCs that we saved and all the like clients that we helped. And that's pretty much like the end of the game. And that's the end of Apollo's journey. He got one game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, he only gets one game?
He only gets one game. Did you not know that?
This is the only Apollo Justice game.
I don't know. Wait, really?
This is the only Apollo game.
This is the only Apollo Justice game.
You
That's
guys!
Yeah.
I will say,
What the fuck?
Apollo does not disappear off the face of the earth or anything like that.
But this is his last game.
This is the only game that focuses entirely on him.
What the?
Rose,
No!
have you not been looking over the recording schedule?
Rose is having a completely normal and highly acceptable reaction to learning that Apollo Justice, which was entirely about Phoenix Wright, is the only Apollo Justice game.
All right, so it's time for me to lift the curtain.
I don't look at
here,
the recording
folks.
schedule because I don't want spoilers.
Yeah, so here's me lifting the curtain on some cultural context of the time. Some time and place context. Apollo Justice comes out. Fan reaction is decent. You know, reviews are fine, but it doesn't blow the lid off of anything. Sales are relatively poor, though, for Apollo Justice. Hi there, Ben from the future. Just wanted to pop in because I didn't quite characterize this properly, and I was incorrect about one thing straight up, which was the sales of Apollo Justice were actually fine. It did fine. So that part I was incorrect on, but as far as the reaction to the games itself, yes, Japan did not really like it very much. There was kind of a poor fan reaction to it. Reviews were all right. That part was correct. 7s, 8s, 9s roughly across the board for the game. The US is a little bit more positive on the game, but you know, if you look at popularity polls from Japan, it is a pretty wide gulf between the trilogy and Apollo Justice as far as just general reaction, how much people like it, you know? So I did want to drop that in here real quick just to add a little bit more context to everything there. So, yeah, just wanted to add that in here. Things have been rosier over time to the game. I think people have kind of warmed on it a bit. So, but, you know, just wanted to correct the record here with a few more details. So without further ado, I'll let you get back to the episode. Capcom interprets this as that people don't like Apollo, but they do like Phoenix. And so Apollo never gets to star in his own game again. He is part of an ensemble cast from here on out. I will not go into any other details, I think, beyond that, so that we can kind of experience the rest of the games and how that goes from there. But yes, it's not like the series just gets handed off to him and it's all about him from here on out, unfortunately.
It's not Professor Layton versus Apollo Justice.
That's a fucking spin-off.
Yeah, I will say that.
That's a spin-off. I'm disappointed. Hey, Capcom? Hey, Capcom? I'm adding this to my list.
You gotta go back in the past, tell Capcom they were wrong, come back to the future, and then you can use that against them in court.
I'm adding this to my list of shit you've pissed me off about. It's not as long as some other game companies' lists, but still.
So yeah, Shu Takumi, like he tried to wrap this game up in a way and hand it off to a new group of writers, but the series essentially was put on pause after this, and instead we got the spin-offs, which were Miles Edgeworth Investigations 1 and 2 during this time period.
I bought Investigations the day it came out.
Yeah, and so
I'm gonna eat that game cartridge.
And then eventually
it's
we
not mine.
had.
I'm gonna eat it.
Eventually, after this, then Takumi comes back and he does Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, and he works on that. And while he is working on that game, Capcom then spins up an Ace Attorney 5 at that point. But by that point, then Takumi is busy on Phoenix Wright versus Layton, and so he does not get to work on 5. And he also has kind of said that he was. He was satisfied with the series. He was kind of done with it. He had put what he wanted into it, and he kind of used up his ideas. And so, once we get to 5, and we see where the main story picks up, you can see and make your decision on how you feel like if they do a good job or not of kind of picking up any of these plot threads. But for a long time, people were kind of like, oh man, did Apollo Justice kill Ace Attorney like mainline games? And no, it didn't. But there was like this weird kind of like awkward period where they were trying to figure out like, do Ace Attorney games sell well? And and like 5 and 6, never came out in physical copies. They were digital only games in the US because of how concerned they were about them not selling. They felt like they couldn't make the production make sense to actual do physical copies. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's kind of future stuff for now. But it's a little sad because I think that Apollo is a really, really compelling character. Trucy is a really, really compelling character, and it would have been nice to see them get like full
a trilogy.
Control, full trilogy, just for them as well.
That was actually about them instead of just being about fucking Phoenix Wright again. Now, I defended sequels having reoccurring characters, I think, in the first episode of this, and I do stand by that. However, this was done very poorly, I have to say.
Yeah.
They yanked the rug right out from underneath Polly's feet.
I think a new protagonist was a good idea. Having an old character be a mentor is not a terrible idea. I think that they changed Phoenix's character so much that it was like semi-unrecognizable.
Truly taken away from us, though?
What?
Getting Trucy to interact with Maya.
I would have loved that.
Holy shit, bro.
It doesn't make sense that there's no Maya. It doesn't make sense that there's no Edgeworth. It doesn't make sense that there's no Pearl.
This was supposed to be, like, a new chapter in the Ace Attorney series, but instead it spent most of its time reminiscing about the past, and not even reminiscing about the past, just one guy. And that's the issue, is that the greatest love about Ace Attorney is the cast, and we only got to focus on a sliver of it.
And you know what? I love this cast. Clavier is like straight up he's in competition with Miles right now in my heart. Like
Clavier is a sick prosecutor.
Miles is forever, but like Clavier he's up there. Like, damn.
At the very end, the Governors break up, and he has actually like the most. I don't know if they actually changed the sprite, but in my heart, it was the most genuine smile he ever had. And I was like, oh my god, Clavier.
Yeah, it's not like a snarky smile or like a smile that he tries to hide because he's supposed to be stoic or something.
It's like a genuine smile. Like,
I watched this man throw a hissy fit about like sound mixer. He can't pretend to be stoic in front of me.
So like, I actually, so like, I know this was supposed to be like the weird middle point of the series, and like, I think it's really sad because I like all these characters. I like the changes they made. I headcanon that Thalassa is gonna come back and she's gonna raise Apollo, Trucy, and Machi in one house. And that's a new sitcom they have where
Apollo's like 22. He's almost an adult.
Apollo Justice is gonna show up and be like, I'm the big brother who has to take care of my siblings, Machi and Trucy. And Machi and Trucy are gonna have a piano magician duet, and they're gonna be cool, okay? This is a Disney Channel original show that I just wrote.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It's better than what the game gave me.
I wanted more. Yeah, I felt like there's another game or two in there. I'm like legitimately, I had no idea. I'm I'm shocked. I was whoa.
Yeah,
I
considered.
did not know. I didn't know anything.
I considered like just leaving that hanging until we get to 5 for you all to discover there.
Someone would have told me.
But yeah, there was no way you wouldn't have found out between now and then because that's pretty far away.
I tell people things and they go, "Oh, like this," and I go, "I didn't know that." That's happened to me like 3 or 4. Like
Rose.
We talked about in the first episode. We talked about how I thought that the ghost and spirit medium shit was a fake bit that was like a gimmick in this game. I did not think the ghosts were real in this game. How fucked up is that, everybody?
Rose, I wanna appreciate your ability to not notice that this is a one game only thing, considering that you have a 2DS that has all the games on them.
I didn't look. I don't look at them.
you just don't interact with those icons.
No, I don't. I legit get nervous that I'm playing the wrong game, so I look up the right name before I start. So that I know I've got the right one.
Holy shit.
And then I only go to that one.
You're way more dedicated to this than I am.
I don't like spoilers, funnily enough.
This is very funny to me considering that actually the first time I ever played an Ace Attorney game was the first case of Game 5. So like...
Oh, really?
Yes, that is the first case I ever played. I played it and then I went, I got other shit to do. So like... Everything that's happening to this is part of the information that I know, and I was like, "Wowee!" Dang, Apollo gets fucked here, and like, fucking Phoenix Wright stands out on. This is like Phoenix Wright's villain arc where you reveal that he's like Thanos or some shit. Like, I really wanted Apollo to succeed here, but like the end case is my exact fear about this game. Which is, it becomes all about the previous protagonist. The reason that the red fight in Pokemon Gold and Silver is so fucking good is because in Gold and Silver you have your own journey, and then you find this legendary hero at the top of a mountain who's been isolated from society, and you fight him once, and that's it. That's why it's mythical. But, like, to just introduce the previous protagonist as the first case, and then go, by the way, he's Yoda now, and it's like, fuck, dude, I don't want to have a Yoda.
I have to be responsible for this.
I want Yoda, but only if he is a funny little puppet who commits arson.
I want Yoda, but only if he dies.
He's already dead! That's the best part about Yoda!
Yeah. So, yeah, I will say, as just like a tease for the future, the vaguest possible thing, to what you were saying, Tiago, there's still a case in 6 that's one of my favorite cases out of the whole series, right?
Sure.
You know? So, like, it's not like I'm saying, like, everything sucks from here on out. You know what I mean?
No,
There are still so much good stuff coming. But yes, it is frustrating to see the potential and realize that, oh man, Apollo Justice is kind of a game with one foot stuck in the past and one foot stuck in the future, and it can't commit to either
Your
one.
Your whole damn body's stuck in the past. Your hand's barely in the future.
and it's as unsatisfying as a result.
Yeah.
My hands
you get all these little
evidence from the past, from the future into the past, and I'm still pissed off about it.
Yeah. So yes. We will get to do a little bit of a side tour instead, a little side story, and we'll get to go back to one of our old mainstays, one of our very, very favorites, Miles Edgeworth. So that is where we're going to be heading next, is to Miles Edgeworth Investigations, the first game, which there was a little bit of a gap for a bit. And then they did this spin-off. And they were like, "Oh, hey, let's try something just a little bit different." And so they gave a separate team. Let's see here. Yeah, Apollo Justice was 2007, and then 2 years later was Ace Attorney Investigations.
2009.
Miles Edgeworth.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, 2009. Sorry.
I was a junior.
So, so this is again, another DS game. And I think nobody really knows anything about this game, right? Nobody here knows anything about it, really?
Nobody?
I know nothing. My brain is empty as always.
Weirdly enough,
if you know anything, Tiago, just say that you know a few things. Don't say what they are. I'm not going to say
anything. What I am going to say is that while I was playing Apollo Justice, someone I follow on Twitter went through the entire trilogy and then went into the Ace Investigation games. And then I went like...
Unfollow them.
They I messaged them to be like, hey, listen, I don't want to be a drag, but can you like tag these so I can block it? And they're like, yeah, sure, of course. And because this is on private Twitter. This is someone that we know, Rose. Started playing all of these games.
We can talk about this later.
I'm just saying
your story.
What I'm just saying is that I just asked them to be like, hey, listen, can you like put a little tweet in front of them? And they go, yeah. And then
you should have been like, excuse me, you need to go back and play the 4th game.
Excuse me, go back and play Apollo Justice. All I know so far is that they ship Miles Edgeworth and Gumshoe from the trilogy. That's my takeaway.
It's either Phoenix and Miles or Miles and Gumshoe.
I think Gumshoe's straight, and that's okay.
He's the token straight.
Yeah, he's the token straight. So then I will I'll not say anything about the gameplay of this game or anything about the story. We'll just leave that up, and you will find out together as we play the first case of that game. If you are playing along with us, then go ahead and play the first case of Miles Edgeworth Investigations. Let me pull that up here so I can say the title of it.
The case?
Yeah, the title of the case. I was going to say it, and I didn't have it right in front of me.
Turnabout cock ring.
Wow. That was a...
Tiago.
Okay,
That's like an uncharacteristic joke, and I actually hate it. Cut that.
Choice. Okay.
It is Turnabout Visitor.
Oh, well.
Turnabout Visitor is the first case of Miles Edgeworth.
Bland. I'll take it.
Ace Attorney Investigation.
That actually sounds way better.
So we will jump into that next time, and we will see kind of what wild things we get up to in a side story, and shows what Miles is up to while everybody else is busy. So yeah, thank you everybody for hanging around and listening as we made our way through Apollo Justice. I hope you enjoyed listening to us talking about this game. If you want to keep up with the show and watch us stream Ace Attorney Investigations, Dessy and I, along with our good friend Iro, have been streaming every case as we've been playing through it, and I take my notes and that sort of thing. So you can watch us do that on our Twitch. If you follow us on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod, we will tweet about it whenever we go live there. You can also take a look at our Twitter. We just put up some shirts. So if you like the Psycho Eye Attack jokes and all the other little...
Let's be clear. When we say we, I mean Ben. Ben did a lot of fucking... This was a surprise to me, listener. Ben
just made shirts.
I have it set up so that I get notifications from the Ace Attorney Pod Twitter, and then I look at my phone and it goes, we just released a new shirt line, and I go, shit, we did? Ben deserves all the credit. He's a genius.
Well, thank you.
I'm simply just an actor.
We have 4 shirts on there, and you can also get the designs on some other things like bath mats and pillows if you want. I just turned all the options on Threadless. So if you go to updatedautopsyreport.threadless.com, you can see our shirt, which is, we have a Psycho Eye Attack shirt, we have a logo shirt, we have an underwater music shirt, and we have an Always Press Harder shirt.
Wait, we actually have underwater music shirt?
Yes.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, damn, I kind of want to share with underwater music on it.
I would wear that. And I might.
It just says the word, it's just the lettering underwater music with like water design on it.
Oh my god, I'm looking at it right now. It's very good.
But yes, I put those together. So listen, no pressure. But if you enjoy this show and you want to put our goofy jokes on your body, you're welcome to do so. All money from that. We don't get much. It's only a couple bucks a shirt. It just goes to our hosting costs for the podcast so that I don't have to pull that out of my own pocket.
Please.
So, don't worry.
That comes out of my pocket, too.
We're so poor. Please help us.
Yeah, so don't worry on that front. You can follow me on Twitter at Yotseben and on co-host under Yotseben as well. Dessy, where can people find you?
At Yes, This Is Des on Twitter.
And Tiago?
They can find me at Tiago S. Dutra. 1 minute review about the soundtrack. The Governor's theme rocks. That's it.
Yeah. And Rose?
You can find me at Traumarts on Twitter, where you can please buy my art because I don't know if shout out to the Bostonians here, if there's any of you, but September 1st is coming up, and you know what that means. So please buy my art. You can also find me at Rose Nonsense in various places.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because that actually does make a big difference for discovery. Next episode, like I said, we'll be playing the first case of Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Excuse me.
Hell yeah! Woo!
I just burped a little bit.
Just a little bit. Bless you, bless you. 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 Bless you.